This episode of Demon Slayer was traumatic, it was thematic, and above all, it was fantastic.
Why are you boring me? I'm right.
I didn't mean to make fun of Giyu's life, I was just trying to...
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Because of the huge success of Demon Slayer, Ufotable decided, you know what, let's milk this franchise drier than a pair of So on some Fantastic Four, Reed Richards type shit, they decided to stretch out 8 manga chapters for an entire season. Much to the frustration of the fans. But as for me, I'm still deciding to watch this anime because I have nothing better to do with my life. Besides, guys, we're all just specks of dust floating inside a chaotic universe who will all face death and head into oblivion anyway.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Stop it. Get some help.
This episode begins with the Aizen Crow speaking to Lady Tamayo, and they pretty much recap the final scene of the last episode, and bro, we all know they only did this to fill up the episode's runtime.
I know, right?
Yushiro comes through to check on her to see if she's alright, and she tells him that it's no big deal, it was just Aizen. She then reflects on the fact that now since Nezuko has conquered the sun, the plot has now thickened, and she tells them to grab their things because they're heading to the Ubuyashiki residence. We then get a minor tease to something that happened in the past with the GOAT himself, Yorichi, and guys, I was so freaking hyped and annoyed at the same time when they showed that. I screamed like a little girl when I saw that because that was a shot of her with Muzan encountering Yorichi, and man, Ufotable is really killing the fans softly with these Easter eggs. Tanjiro receives a letter from Ubuyashiki who asks him if he can speak to Giyu because he would do it himself, but man can't move. He's worried about his loneliness and he thinks that Tanjiro would be the best person to cheer him up. Tanjiro, being the positivity Hashira, decides to take up this mission. Before he leaves, he asks Aoi if she has any idea on how he can tell Giyu that he's not alone, and she tells him that she doesn't have a clue.
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar. Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
I'm not gonna lie, this part of the episode was unnecessary. It really didn't go anywhere. Honestly bro, that scene with Tanjiro and Aoi really showed the stuff that we should expect to see this season, with the filler material trying to make up for less content. She gives Tanjiro some food and bro arrives at Giyu's residence, barging in without a care in the world, and they both start chopping it up, and Tanjiro uses his compassion breathing on him, asking if everything's alright. Giyu tells him that he's not the water Hashira and asks him to leave. That was so heartbreaking to hear. Giyu was basically handing in his notice right there and then and offering Tanjiro to take his job. Well, Rengoku's job is still vacant, so I think it would be better for Tanjiro to take that one. You would think that Giyu is just being his usual self with his resting bitch face, but this guy is battling his own internal demons, no pun intended. But Tanjiro doesn't give a fuck about any of that and decides to become the worst enemy for introverts. From this point onward, Tanjiro became SpongeBob and Giyu was Squidward, and this episode should have been called because he was tormenting this man. Tanjiro was absolutely hilarious during this episode. The way he was following him around with that dopey face was just so funny. It was borderline creepy at times. Bro, I could only imagine how Tomioka was feeling, fam. Bro must have been annoyed as hell.
Mommy! Mommy! Mama! Mama! Mama!
To get Tanjiro to shut up, Tomioka decides to open up to him, and the story starts with a boy named Sabuto. Sabuto and Tomioka both lost their families to demons and were both trained in water breathing. But you see, this is Demon Slayer. You already know that body's gonna get dropped. They both took the final selection exam together, and Sabuto was a talented slayer who easily disposed of all of the demons, but Giyu sucked. And worst of all, he was a huge He was so weak that he got injured by the first demon that attacked him. And guys, just take a look at this demon for a second and hear me out. Wood.
Oh, you nasty.
Sabuto had to come and save his ass, but his sense of justice would eventually lead to his own demise. Tomioka suffers from survivor's guilt and inferiority complex that was developed after the first election. He's constantly struggled with his self-worth because of the fact that he wasn't strong on his own merit to survive the final selection, and a person who had great potential like Sabuto had his life cut short. When he told Tanjiro that he wasn't like the other Hashira, what he meant was that he doesn't feel like he deserves the title of Hashira. This episode episode also did a great job at exposing just how flawed the final selection is. If you guys don't remember the rules of the final selection, allow me to jog your memory. In the final selection, each candidate will spend 7 days in the forest where they must survive relying on their own resourcefulness. The forest is filled with demons, and the crazy thing is you don't even have to kill them to pass, you just have to survive. This whole thing was terribly designed as an assessment because it's not effective at all. Wouldn't it be better to have each candidate have a one-on-one fight with a demon in a controlled space, which is overseen by the Hushrest, to better examine their skills? Like, no wonder the Demon Slayer course sucks, because they have too many of these NPCs within its ranks. I mean, just look at this dude. I don't even know this character's name, but I just want to punch him in the face. If they would have changed up this exam, maybe they would have had more skilled warriors and tracked down Muzan earlier. I'm not saying that they would have slain him, but the odds would have been a bit more favorable for them. Fam, Ibuyoshiki has got way too much blood on his hands with this one. Tomioka is wallowing in regret over what happened all those years ago, and Tanjiro remembers training with Sabuto's ghost, and he relates to Giyu's feelings of loss because he remembers how Rengoku died to protect him. He reflects on what Inosuke said to him, and so Tanjiro asks Tomioka if he's going to carry on what Sabuto entrusted to him. It then hits Tomioka. When they were kids, Sabuto told him to never wish death upon himself because it's disrespectful to his sister, who died to protect him from demons. This encourages Giyu, and afterwards him and Tanjiro go and get some soba before they begin training. The episode then cuts to Shinobu and Kanayo, and Shinobu tells her that she won't be participating in the Hashira training program, and she decides that now is the right time to tell Kanayo about the demon who killed her sister and exactly how to kill that particular demon. Guys, this was surprisingly a very good episode with all things considered, despite only being adapted from a chapter and a half.
Say again?
A chapter and a half.
What'd you say?
You heard me. It wasn't anything crazy, but the direction of Tomioka's backstory and the humor really carried this episode. The ending was decent as well, the visuals were good, it didn't really show anything which had too many spoilers. The ending itself was more foreshadowing if anything. Thank you to everyone who took out the time to watch this video. I appreciate you all. Like, share, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on the episode. If you liked it, if you didn't, please check out the links in my description for some anime figures if you're interested. And until next week, stay blessed.